Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. This is the Decentralized Masters Podcast, your go to source for everything in decentralized finance. I'm Tristan, and my co host will be joining me later in the call. He's just running into some technical difficulties right now. Jon will be with us shortly. We're here to guide you through the ever changing world of DeFi, one strategy at a time. Every week, right here on the Decentralized Masters YouTube channel, we go live at 2 p.m. Eastern Time to bring you the latest insights and updates and tools to help you in the DeFi space. So, without further ado, I do have my usual presentation for you guys, but I thought I would just start out with our usual crypto bubbles, just to give, I guess, a general sense of what is happening today in the market. So, as you can see here, not a bad day. Things have, you just could say, have been coming back to normal. we're at a very wait and see kind of area in the market, and I'll talk about this later while doing technical analysis. But as you can see, most things are up today. FET up 11%, Render up 12%, Hex doing well, Aave also doing well, even HNT doing pretty good, Hype doing good. Everyone seems to be doing pretty good except OM. There is a lot of drama around Mantra and the OM token at the moment, but we will spend a considerable amount of time talking about that today during the pod. So seems like for the day, things are not bad. Weekly, of course, you see similar tokens that were doing good today are doing really good on the week as well. FET, Sol, HNT up another 34 is up 34% this week. Hype up 21, Radium up 40. They recently launched their new launch pad. Also talk about that later today. Yeah, so things are coming up a bit. You know, it's been a rough month though. Unless you're a large fart coin investor, things have been been rough so far this April. But for now, this week has been an improvement, and today is a continued improvement on top of that. So things are looking pretty good there. We'll go over fear and greed real quick here. As you can see, the fear is we're still in quite a fearful market. Yeah, just make sure. Yeah, we're still in a bit of a fearful market here. Things have gone, not as bad as they were pre to Trump doing the 90-day pause on tariffs. We were all the way down in the bottom of extreme fear. Things were not great. Things are, sketchy. But a little bit of with Trump making that 90-day pause in the tariffs, things have started bouncing back again, and people are anxiously tiptoeing their way back into the market. And you saw that in the crypto bubbles this week has been not as bad as last week there. So one more thing now, let's get into some basic TA. If Jon will be joining us, I'm sure he'll jump into a little bit more of a deeper dive, but this is just my opinion. So you can see kind of what we're seeing so far in the week. Here we got Bitcoin. As you can see, what has been important is we've basically been in this downward channel since late January, early February, where the market peaked out, hit 109, hit $108,000, and has just slowly been bleeding out ever since. As you can see here in this purple square, this is the first time we broke out of my channel here. Give us a little bit of hope. Unfortunately, came back down. Same story again. In this yellow box, broke out of the channel again before coming down. But as you can see, we've been trying to break out of this channel now until just a few days ago, actually, where we have broken out and now have sustained being above it on the daily chart. This is good news. Could this potentially be a bull trap? Yeah, potentially. But it is actually a nice sign to see since everything has been quite, meh, very meh lately. Things have been, could be better. What I'm seeing here though is we kind of want to definitely break out of this 92,000 range to truly say, hey, this is the end of this pullback, this downtrend in the market. We definitely want to break that old support here. That would be our new resistance. That is our target, but we kind of got to get through 86K first. As you can see in this, small uptrend in the white box here, we haven't really been able to sustain being above 86 before coming back down. So, baby steps first, 86, and then how about 92? As you can also see here, we did make a lower low just in the beginning of in the beginning of April here. We're at that new low. We did touch the 70,000 range, and we could definitely go back into it. As you can see, let me get out my little drawer here. We could definitely, go back in and make a lower low. It's totally possible to go back into the 72 70 range. There was tons of buying pressure in there though. That low 70s, 70, kind of low below 77. Lots of buyers jumped into the market down there. So we're not, that's kind of where our resistance is now, because as you see with this white line, sorry, that's where our support is now. As you can see with this white line, this was our former resistance back before the election. This was our every time we hit above this kind of $74,000 range, the market would send us tumbling back down, and it would take a little while for us to end up climbing back up again. And as you can see here, then that was the election, and that's when we were off to the races. That old resistance, 74, 75, that is our new support. And then we just keep continuously bouncing off of that. So that's kind of where we are with Bitcoin right now. Most of the other cryptos will follow. ETH not doing very well at the moment compared to Bitcoin. ETH hasn't been able to break out of any of this. It hasn't been able to break out of my downward channel, hardly at all. It's still showing signs of weakness. Whereas Bitcoin was, had that potential, has, that bull flag, that bull trap potentially, or maybe a bear flag, where, we're potentially seeing a point of consolidation. So going flat instead of straight down again. Go over Solana real quick here as well. Sol was doing pretty good. Similar story with Solana is that it's showing strength right now. It did make a lower low early in the April here as well, but it has been pushing out. It has broken out of this channel, and you can see that maybe we might see some consolidation going on. So we could see a potential similar kind of pattern going on for Bitcoin that we could see for Solana, where we could go actual sideways maybe for a little while, and then proceed to go back up again after. But it's hard to say. We have to wait for real economic news for that. I'm sure we have a Federal Reserve meeting in May. That will be a very important decider if we're going to get a rate cut or holding rate steady. I know the inflation was down to a low level, the lowest level since 2023, in the last report. So things could be looking better at the moment. I know we have the 90-day retrieval on tariffs. So the economic news at the moment kind of turning around. So that is the good news. That is kind of what I'm seeing on the technical analysis right now. If Jon joins us at some point, I'm sure he'll go in there and going to give you his opinion as well. But for now, I do have a presentation for you guys, as always. You can't come here expecting not to have a presentation. Hello, Marco. Welcome to the stream. Glad you could make it. All right. All right. So we do have a small presentation for you. Nothing too crazy today. I've left. There's been a bit of a quieter week actually in markets, so I've you know there wasn't too much to cover, but I did cover something that I actually haven't covered before in terms of an investment opportunity. So stick around later in the podcast for that. As we get through this, we'll do the news and then we'll get into that. So this week in crypto. US dollar weakness. So the US dollar index, the DXY, is a near multi-year low right now, and it's failing to reclaim the $100 level, with Goldman Sachs predicting even further declines. Since we got time today, I'll actually jump back into the technical analysis and show you the US dollar index. Quite important. As you can see, very low right now. We haven't been this low on the US dollar index since, oh my goodness, since 2022. So the US dollar hasn't been as weak as it is in this very moment since 2022, which is very interesting. As you can see here now, this yellow line, this is the money supply in the market, so global liquidity. And you can see that it is almost perfectly inverse to the US dollar index at the moment. It is also a common theory that when global liquidity goes up, Bitcoin will follow. It just takes a little bit of, it just has a little bit of a lag to it as well. So very interesting to see. That is, past results though don't indicate future results. So just got to keep that in mind. But that at the moment is interesting. We have a very low dollar at the moment. All right, back to the back to the news. So Goldman Sachs is predicting further depreciation in the dollar. That was all kind of Trump's plan to. That was Trump's plan to make the dollar weaker, to make the economy, the U.S. dollar, more attractive, so they can do better on trade. Gold also hit new highs. As we can see here, we can go back to the charts here. We can go to PAXG, which let's do the GLD actually. Gold 305. It was brand new highs yesterday at 307. And still making really good progress today. So gold has been very, very a very well performer. It has been quite strong. Gold and Bitcoin do share a lot of common, as you could say, they're as an investment, they share common value, meaning they're both hard assets, meaning they are sound money, where it's impossible to inflate them. There's only so many of these tokens available. There's only 21 million Bitcoin. There's only so much gold on this planet. Therefore, it's not possible for the Federal Reserve to, or any global banking government to inflate those. So they've been used as a store of value. Gold and Bitcoin haven't performed very similarly lately. Although gold has been making new high after new high, Bitcoin has been going down. Bitcoin has been doing better than the stock market, but it's still it's not doing as well as gold, that is for sure. But at the moment, gold going up, US dollar going down are both actually good signs for Bitcoin. So let's get into the news here. This one is interesting. So if you've been following along with crypto Twitter, or you've been following us here at Decentralized Masters, you know that Mantra actually had one of the worst drops in crypto history. It went from I think it was like a $7 billion market cap to less than $1 billion in about an hour. Mm. So not ideal for Mantra investors, absolutely. You may be wondering what happened. At the moment, it's still very up in the air what specifically happened. The team is claiming that they didn't sell any, that it wasn't any of the Mantra team members, wasn't any of the devs, that wasn't, that they didn't sell their tokens. The Mantra team did say that a significant amount of OM tokens moved onto exchanges for use of collateral and forced OM position closures, as is the main. And then someone, it was during the Asian hours. So the volumes on the market weren't very high. Everyone was sleeping, and then someone placed a massive sell order, which tanked the market, and then it caused a chain reaction of these people who were using leverage, liquidated all those positions, and then made a chain reaction of liquidations all the way down from almost $7 to 50 cents. It has bounced a little bit since then. If we go to TradingView right now, we can see that OM, I think it has recovered a bit of its ground, but not nearly as much as it used to be. Yeah. our old chart here, our old technical analysis means nothing now. As you can see coming down here, we can even change it to the shorter time frame here. We're at the 1 hour. Look on a 4 hour. You can see that since that diabolical crash there, OM has been trading between this 50 cent to $1 kind of range, and we're sitting at just shy of 66 cents right now. So not ideal, but it's very kind of up in the air of what went on specifically. Also, it's important to notice that OM has two different types of tokens. So it's cross-chain. So it has its Ethereum-based ERC20, and it also has its Cosmos token, which is independent. These and all the selling pressure was from the ERC20 token, because that's the one that all the exchanges had. Apparently, this is just a rumor that I saw on Twitter. There was an arbitrage opportunity where the Cosmos version of the token was at a higher price than the ERC20 version. So this massive sell order came in on the ERC20 one, and then went into on the Cosmos ones, sold off the Cosmos one, and then tried to get other way around. They sold off the ERC20 one to get to the Cosmos one, and then that caused potentially this liquidation spiral. But that's just a funny rumor. So imagine that someone was trying to do some little arbitrage opportunity, and they ended up absolutely destroying their own token. I do see that Jon has joined us now.
Yes, sir. How are you doing today, man?
What's going on?
Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Pretty exciting time in the market, right?
Never a dull day.
There's a little bit of green today, which is good. I'm seeing a little bit of green all across the board, which is not too bad.
Do you have any comments on Mantra?
Yeah, I actually do. We covered this a little bit with our private community yesterday on Let's Talk Crypto, but the Mantra CEO is planning of burning the team tokens. They say they have over 300 million locked up tokens of OM tokens. And Jon, which at this point I wouldn't want to be associated with this guy's similar name, but this guy Jon, the CEO of Mantra, said that he's trying to win the community's trust back by burning these tokens. Basically, what happens when these tokens are burned, they're no longer in the circulation, which basically makes a token more valuable. There's less supply out of it. Now, can this pump up the OM temporary? I mean, of course, burns are always good. That means there's going to be less Mantra tokens out there, making it more valuable. Now, the problem with this, And actually, let me backtrack a little bit. This was back on actually announced on the 16th, which was yesterday. And we saw Mantra do a nice little bump up of about like 30%. It went up a little bit over 30%. I think it was actually Tuesday that this was announced. Late Tuesday, so going into Wednesday. And we saw like a quick little pump on Mantra. Now, the burning of the tokens, we'll see if it happens. Could it help the project to recover 100%? We did see it go as low, I believe, under 50 cents. And right now we're at 71 cents. So we're almost hitting the $1 mark. Quite far from where we were at. But also still very possible to recover. Now, the biggest thing that comes here is just like Tristan said earlier, there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of no one taking responsibility, a lot of really fishy things that kind of point fingers, if it's not to the team, to someone insider, right? They were claiming that Mantra was selling over the counter to investors at 50% deals. So meaning the token at the time was going for $8. Investors were getting those tokens for 50% of that. 50% off of that, so about $4 a token. That's what they're claiming, and apparently the money that was moved onto the exchange, that's what spooked up a lot of the investors and caused panic. And then that panicked as people started to realize that there was a large amount of money being moved onto an exchange. Then liquidation started to hit. So that's where a lot of the fear came in. Still, they're saying that it has nothing to do with them. I really doubt it. I don't know. It just sounds really fishy. Apparently that wallet was also associated with another pretty big platform. I can't recall what the token platform was called. Do you remember? It wasn't. I'm not sure if it's a protocol or it's a protocol or like a venture capital. I can't remember the platform. It's I can't remember. It's not. I can't really think right now on top of my head. But the wallet was. If I could look it up, if I could look exactly and tell you the wallet of this token. Let me see if I can find the article real quick that I had.
Was it the devs?
No, it was actually someone else. So I think I actually have the official. Is it the full tweet? No. So there's another wallet associated with it. Zach XBT went ahead and talked about it a little bit, I believe. Okay, there you go. Laser Digital. Laser Digital was the wallet that had this large amount of Mantra being moved onto OKX. And Laser Digital, we could go ahead and do a little bit more research on what Laser Digital is. Let me tell you exactly what it is. I looked into it when I was looking at their Twitter, but I can't tell you on top of my head what exactly what this platform is. This is a platform, though, I believe. I don't think it's a token. Okay, so Laser Digital is a full-service digital asset firm specializing in trading, asset management, and early-stage investing. So I would say like a venture capital. So basically, Laser Digital, these huge funds that were moved that came from somewhere and were then deposited into OKX was from Laser Digital. That's what it said on the handle. They're claiming it's not them either. I mean, it literally says their name. They're saying it's not them. They're claiming that it's not them, that someone created that. Who knows what is truth right now? I mean, everything just looks very, very fishy. I mean, the fact that they said they were selling OTC and then Laser Digital is on the wallet name. And Laser Digital tends to be early investment plus venture capital, basically. It's just a lot of fishy stuff, right? So that's kind of my take with Mantra. Kind of recover, yes. The biggest problem I think we had with Mantra was it was like a top.
Everyone's pointing fingers.
Yeah, it was a top 20 token. So it was a pretty big deal. Like Mantra was like the face of real world assets. And for all those that are in our private community, for all those that are not, Tan and Salim mentioned that, and I completely agree with this. For this next run up that we see in the market, it's not going to be so much on narratives. I don't think the narrative is going to be as hot with real world assets and AI right now. I think it could be a new narrative. Maybe it's no narrative. Maybe it's gaming. Who knows? Tristan and I have been talking about gaming being the next narrative. And that's the thing. That's how cycles work within crypto. There's going to be multiple cycles. For example, as we once had meme coin season, we had the AI agents, which I mentioned to all of you to stay away from because they were literally just meme coins slapped with the word AI agent in them. That's literally what they were for the most part. Then we had real world assets. So I think this next run up, as we start to see the market recover, we could probably be not focusing so much into these narratives as much. So even though mantra is a big deal right now, I'm sure as time goes on, people are going to forget. That's just how it happens with every token. And just keep in mind, guys, when it comes to any token, you always want to go in with a small amount. You never want to go with your life savings all into a token. That's one of the main reasons why we talk about diversifying into this space, because even the ones with really good foundations, partnerships, tokenomics are even the ones that sometimes, do these interesting things that happen in the market. So we'll see where things go with mantra. Is it a good time to buy the dip? Who knows? Could be. I wouldn't be surprised if it recovers back. Like I said, the problem with the burn of them burning the tokens, I do think it will bring up the value temporary, but the trust with the community is broken. Not saying that it can't be recovered. It definitely could, but it's going to be very, very difficult now. So they're going to have to gain that trust. We'll see what they do to go ahead and do that. But usually with tokens, when they do this or anything similar to this, where trust is broken, I don't think I could tell you on top of my head a token that has recovered from that. Tristan, have you seen that?
Yeah, you got the Luna token that recovered, didn't it?
I mean, it didn't really recover. Like
No, I was being sarcastic.
It became a meme coin basically because it's still available. You can still trade Luna C, I believe it's called. Yeah, I was trading it last 2 years ago. I was trading it, and people were still trading it. I was like, who the heck still trades this? Like at the end of the day, traders will be traders, so they'll trade anything with volume and momentum, and if it makes sense. But as far as like growth, a lot of the companies like Luna, like you just mentioned, have fallen apart. So I don't know. OM's a little different though. They are doing real world asset stuff, but it just doesn't look good on the community, to be completely honest.
Yeah. And then when you see this with stocks too, they don't often recover as well, especially when it's 90%.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's also a good point to point out. This is not just a crypto thing, right, guys? This also happens on IPOs when stocks officially go public. Usually we do see this kind of retracement about 80-90%. They then later on recover. But the way this just looks is just very, very fishy. And luckily we have the blockchain. So they could say whatever they want, but like what we just pointed out, like the fact that their wallets are named Laser Digital is a venture capital. They talked about OTC deals that was a rumor. It just kind of almost adds up one to one. Now, did someone probably do that on purpose? It could happen. I mean, we're in the space of crypto that for whatever reason, if someone doesn't like you and you're running a company such as a token, they could go ahead and try to like do the opposite and just purposely wreck you, right? Just to go ahead and wreck you if you probably did something to them, whatever the case is. So there is a lot of that in crypto, so it wouldn't surprise me. But like once again, as I said, it's all clear on the blockchain, and there's a lot of questionable things that they could keep on going and denying everything, but eventually at one point people are going to go ahead and make their own decisions. And I think right now, just like Tristan said, it looks very, very fishy. And we'll see if it recovers from that. I know a lot of you guys are buying the dip. Like I said, it could be a short-term play, but I don't know. I don't know about this. Do you think it could come back, Tristan? Like, I mean, think about it. It's a legit project. I mean, they're working on real-world asset things. They became top 20 very fast, and then just for all of that just to be wasted, it just doesn't look good.
It's a little sad, yeah. But the thing about crypto is everything moves so quickly that someone will replace mantra real quick. The only thing that I could think that maybe helps mantra long term is that it had institutional investors from big capital firms in like the UAE, so Dubai. Uh, that could potentially bump it up again.
Yeah, this could have
That's
also
kind of
just
their
been
edge.
them
Yeah.
purposely pushing it down.
Maybe this is a good time to get me. No, I'm still very cautious on this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at their chart right now. It looks like they're back at like almost top 100 token. Um, I think the biggest issue would come here is if exchanges start to delist mantra. I think
Yeah.
that's where the red flags are going to start coming in. Like I said, maybe they relaunch a second token. I don't know. Maybe that'd be the only way I could really think of. They relaunch a second token with better tokenomics. They go ahead and do that, but that's just too much of a hassle, honestly. But we'll see where things go.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Well, we'll turn the page on mantra. It'll be a continuous story now going forward for us. Another thing that happened this week in the news is that one of the Italian finance ministers actually warns that U.S. stablecoins are a bigger threat than tariffs, and that's just because that the euro is a cross border currency, and not all but most of the 30 something countries in the EU, they use the euro, and it's their cross border currency. However, the European, sorry, the ECB, so the Federal Bank of the European Union, they are pushing for their CBDC. So there will be a central bank digital currency for the euro that will be, a euro that is like a stable coin, but it will be completely controlled by the ECB bank. So that is the government having direct control of your money. That is what a lot of people in crypto fear the most. They do not want the government being able to say, you can only spend your money on these certain products at these certain times. They don't want the government to be able to shut down their wallets at a moment notice. They don't want, you know, the government to say, "Oh, you can't save your money at this point in time." They don't want, having all these controls, which would be 100% be possible if you had, CBDC that is completely controllable and programmable. So, if the United States is going in the other direction and giving all these different stablecoin projects like USDC and USDT, USDY, like USD1. That's Donald Trump's new stablecoin that John might mention at some point through this podcast. These new stablecoins, they're giving all these new projects a platform to stand on. And because long term, giving multiple different stablecoins access to the US dollar is good because these projects are buying bonds, and that's good for the United States economy. So if the US is taking this route of freedom and, do what you want, and then the European Union is doing this route of control and what's another word for it? Just control control over your money supply. Then people in Europe are going to actually probably tend to use the United States dollar instead of the euro, and then that creates weakness for the euro. So they're just warning that if the EU doesn't take a similar route that the United States is taking for stablecoins, that actually presents a massive threat for the euro dollar. Also in the news that it's been noticed that China has been selling off a little bit of their Bitcoin holdings. China is the second largest holder of Bitcoin, in terms of governments, right underneath the United States with 15,000 Bitcoin. What's happening right now is that local governments, so not the federal, level of governments, not the CCP, it's like provincial, municipal governments are selling off portions of their crypto holdings that they've acquired from confiscating it from people doing criminal activities. They're selling off these tokens slowly, but in sketchy ways. because actually selling tokens, doesn't matter if you're the government or an individual in China, it's illegal. So this is creating potential for corruption. So there's actual talks in China that they just might centralize the whole thing. All the confiscated crypto in China will go up to the federal level, up to the CCP, instead of having it, in multiple different governments. And then potential talks of a Bitcoin reserve. But at the moment, a little bit of selling pressure in Bitcoin is actually coming from China right now. And that is to boost their local currencies because the trade war is affecting them. Another little important thing here, I know a lot of our members are big fans of Sui. You can now have Sui on Ledger. So previously, you could have your Sui wallet or your Sui or Phantom wallet connected to your Ledger, but you wouldn't be able to see your Sui balance in Ledger Live. You can now add Sui in your accounts, and now it will show up. So just a little information there. Launch pads. So this is what I was going to go over today. This is my lesson of the day. What are launch pads? So I know everyone is trying to get into these crypto native markets. So buying tokens before they're on the big exchanges. So buying tokens before they're on Binance and Crypto.com and Coinbase, because that gives you the most upside for gain. So one way that you can go out and find brand new projects is using launch pads. Some of the larger launch pads out there are Polka Star on Polygon, Solanium on Solana, Eclipse Phi on Cosmos, and DAO Maker on ERC20. DAO Maker is not available in the US or Canada, unfortunately. But what these are basically is they are places that you can go to look at brand new ICOs. ICO stands for initial coin offering. For example, here in Solanium, you can see some of the previous projects that they took public. So this is the first time that you could go and acquire these tokens. You're buying them before anyone else is getting access to them, before they're on any exchange. So you can see some of the previous projects at their all-time highs. So they're probably a lot down now because of the market. Some of them did 1x's, 4x's, 9x's, 20x's, 78. So this is a good way to get into projects very, very early on. Oh, I was not showing that. Whoops. This is Solanium. I didn't show the right tab. You can see that some of their projects, these are some of the projects that they've done. You had a 1x, 4x, 78, etc. So this is one way to find new projects. Of course, you want to do lots of research when you're getting involved in projects like that. Not only do you want to make sure the launch pad itself is listing quality projects, because technically you could consider Pump.Fun, the meme coin place, that could technically be considered a launch pad for new tokens. So you just want to make sure they're only launching quality things. So do they have like a team behind it? Are they qualified? Do they have a background? Are there other investors already in it? Are there other venture capitalists looking at it? Just make sure that there's like something of substance behind it, and it's not just, I don't know, a picture of a dog or something. However, pictures of dogs have done well before, so I've been wrong. When I looked at crypto bubbles today, you saw that Radium was up quite a bit this week. It was something like 40% this week, doing very well. And that's actually because Radium launched their own version of Pump.Fun. You know what? I'm not going to show it. I would like to show it to you guys on YouTube here, but sometimes people list projects that aren't very safe for YouTube. So unfortunately, you'll just have to take my word for it. As you can see in my screenshot here, they have, the new Radium Launchpad, and this is a direct competitor to Pump.Fun, where people can list meme tokens or less than meme tokens. I don't think anyone with a legitimate project would really take it to a launchpad like this. But yeah, that is one of the reasons why Radium is performing very well today. So if you're interested in getting into launchpads, I would do your research and make sure you're just getting into a good launchpad, and then B, make sure the project that you're getting into in the launchpad also has some substance behind it. But that gives you a good way to get into that native market there. Yeah, that's kind of all I had for my presentation today, John.
Awesome, man. You had some really good points about launch pads. I actually checked out a few of those platforms that you shared with us. Really cool, man. Really interesting. I kind of talked a little bit about that with more of with our private community yesterday on one of my sessions, and we were doing some research on a few projects. I'm sure you probably heard about this one. There's another launch pad called GameFi. I'll touch up a little bit on that. That was very popular last bull cycle. But I really like the fact that you mentioned launch pads. I think right now, with what we're seeing in the market, we should be focusing on not just developing new skills, but also researching new projects. Of course, it comes with a risk. Always keep that in mind, as Tristan mentioned. One thing I will say, though, I have noticed that most projects at least do a minimum of about a 1x. The really good ones do a 5, 10, 20x potential, meaning you put in $1,000, you can make 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 20,000. It just depends, right? It's basically just gambling. There's really no way to do due diligence on most projects, I would say. I've actually looked into a few of those projects that on some of the platforms that you shared, where they're at today, and the token's down, of course, with market conditions. But these are just really tokens you want to sell usually as soon as they go live. And it's really just gambling, to be completely honest. So they do bring in opportunities, and I do think it's a good time to start looking for those opportunities. But also keep in mind is basically just us gambling around, seeing which one works, which one doesn't, because there's no really way to find out which pre-sale is going to do well. It's really a hit or miss. You can sit there, look into the smart contract white paper, but look at what happened with Mantra. All it takes is one person to screw everything up, right? Really, that's really what it is. So, unfortunately, that's what sometimes happens. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, because I do want to talk. I think it's a really good point that you brought up about launch pads. But I do want to go ahead and start off quickly with a little bit of crypto bubbles to see how the market's doing. We're seeing a little bit of green across the board. I don't know what's going on, to be completely honest with you. Mantra is down about 13%, but all across the board, we see the market slightly at a neutral point. Let's go ahead and take a look at the hourly. Of course, hourly slightly in the red. If we go ahead and take a look at the weekly is on a green. It looks like HNT up 33%. What happened there, man?
Surprisingly, I actually don't know. That's something I usually
Is
cover.
HNT helium or no?
That is helium, yeah.
Okay. Hype 22%, fetch 20%, hype 22, fart coin. that thing has been ripping. I don't think you can use the word ripping on the token called fart coin, right? Radium up 39%, and then of course OM down 89%. I mean, it has gone up about 20-30% since. Solana did a nice little pump too, of about 20%. So across the board in the weekly, things are looking a lot better, which could give us a little bit more peace of mind. Now, I don't think this is over. I think we still have a little bit of room left for this boring period, more of a shakeout to continue. If you guys remember back on at around the beginning of the year, Tristan and I were quite bearish. We were like the biggest bears, while everybody was so happy celebrating about how this market's going to go to, $1 million on Bitcoin. So it's no surprise to what we're seeing in the market. It is needed. It is a healthy correction, so always keep that in mind. But I think there's a lot of opportunities that will be presented on both the stock market and the crypto market. And right now, this should be a really, really exciting time for you, where you're just focusing on bringing in more money for yourself so you can invest more later down when the market starts to look better. Now, to be transparent with you, my plan still hasn't really changed. I've told you guys before I went on to vacation last week, I mentioned I might consider buying into the market mid-April, and we are mid-April. So markets are looking a little bit better now, right? So when it comes to this game, it's all about patience, guys, sticking to your goal. There's multiple times that I just wanted to start deploying capital into the market aggressively. And I held myself and I remembered that I need to stick to my plan. Whether the market pumps right now, if I break my plan, that's literally breaking the discipline, which is not good, because when time comes in to sell and you're telling yourself you're going to sell, chances of you are selling are very, very low. So you want to start developing that discipline early on. If you say you're going to buy, stick to buying. If you say you're going to sell, then sell, take profits, right? So right now, how the market's looking is looking a lot better, in my opinion. We're going to look into the charts, but a lot of positive things all across the board. One of them being Mexi Global, which is actually one of the exchanges I used to work for as a business development manager. Really cool to see that they are now integrating a centralized exchange into their, or a decentralized exchange into their platform, which is a centralized exchange. Mexi used to be non KYC after the previous administration, when they started cracking down on crypto. A lot of these exchanges decided to no longer cater too much to U.S. customers due to the fear of anything going on with them. But Mexi, at one point, you were able to use literally just an email, phone number. That's it. No ID, no nothing required. I think now, from last I spoke with the team, and when I was working there, we were implementing the KYC. So I'm not sure we could use it now. Maybe that has changed. I haven't dabbled into the platform since. But the whole entire goal with Mexi, what they're trying to do here is they're trying to go ahead and integrate DeFi into their platform to make it very easy for regular retail investors to come into the platform and buy their favorite meme coin without having to go through hurdles. Same thing with Mantra, right? Mantra is not listed on Coinbase. So if you wanted to buy Mantra, you had to be pretty crypto savvy to go ahead and purchase it if it wasn't listed on an exchange that you already used, right? So DeFi is where the opportunities are found. Usually when you're buying on centralized exchanges, you're a little too late to the party. Not saying there isn't opportunities to be made. There is, but if you want to go ahead and make those crazy returns of 20, 30, 40x, for example, Tyler called a token called IP, I think 2-3 weeks ago. That thing did over 5x. I don't think it's listed on any major US exchange. I could be wrong. But yeah, tokens like that, those kind of gems that are shared within our private community, those tokens are mostly on decentralized exchanges. And that's where the opportunities really come in. Now, as a lot of you guys know, DeFi is very, very difficult. It's not an easy space. You need to know what you're doing, because if you do something wrong, there's no support. You can't go ahead and contact MetaMask or Rabby to give you your money back because you made a mistake on the blockchain. That's the whole point of the blockchain. The blockchain was created so if people try to hide their trail of them doing something, they can't. And that's what the whole entire point of the blockchain is to be it's to bring in transparency into any space. So if someone tries to hide something, it's going to be a lot difficult to hide those trails. Basically, like what's going on with Mantra. They could say one thing, but if things in the blockchain are saying otherwise, you can see that there's something fishy there, right? So that's where the difficulty of DeFi comes in, how to store your proper wallet, how to do all that. Of course, you guys could always check out our free private community that we actually have as well down below in the description. But DeFi is very, very difficult. So what we're seeing, and the reason why I'm pushing this, is due to the fact that Coinbase is also doing something very similar to this. And this is the Base chain. Coinbase is really trying to push to make DeFi accessible to everyone in a very convenient, easy way through their Coinbase wallet. So now we're seeing a lot of these exchanges fighting to the races to see which platform could go ahead and integrate DeFi in a very simple way to have more exposure to more people. So it's really cool to see this. I just wanted to go ahead and kind of bring this up. So we have that. We talked about the mantra plans of burning tokens, which we'll skip. Another thing that's pretty important to talk about, I guess. I really doubt most of you are holding on to any of this. Maybe you are. But Binance recently went ahead and made a post on Twitter asking their users to go ahead and vote for a token that they should be delisting. And they chose Zcash to be delisted. Zcash is a privacy-driven token, very similar to Monero. We've talked about Monero in the past. The thing is with privacy coins, it's a very difficult thing to really even talk about. There's a stigma behind privacy coins. I do not know why. It seems like even that was a stigma with cryptocurrencies at one point. It's like if you are holding on to privacy coins, you're a criminal. You're doing something illegal, right? So that's a stigma that comes in with a lot of the privacy coins. Very, very high risk for a lot of these platforms, to be completely honest with you. And Zcash is one of those. It's supposed to go ahead and protect your privacy by not showing much of the things on the blockchain. I believe that's the way it works. That it doesn't show things on the blockchain. It hides them. I can't tell you exactly the technology they use because they all use them very, very differently. But after doing research on privacy coins, it turns out that Monero is actually trackable. So that's the whole entire debate with privacy coins. You know what I mean? That's kind of the problem with privacy coins. They're like, oh, you aren't being tracked, and then it turns out you could be tracked. Like, so there's definitely flaws also in privacy coins. I'm sure there's a privacy coin out there that really does have privacy integrated into it. But the problem with privacy coins, as I want to mention, is that they are illegal in a lot of countries. And I think Dubai actually did it recently where it is illegal for privacy coins. I could see if I could try to find that article for you guys. So there's a lot of places where, in a lot of countries where it is illegal to own privacy coins. I'm not sure if the US is one of them. But yeah, so let me show you the article right here. I found just through simple Google. Let's see if I could go ahead and bring this up for you guys to see. So just be careful. This is one of the big disclaimers I want to go ahead and give to all of you guys. So in February 2023, Dubai's virtual asset regulatory banned privacy coins such as Monero, Zcash. So just be very, very careful, guys. Privacy coins are illegal in certain countries. And you could go ahead and face issues. It looks like also Japan banned privacy coins on exchanges back in 2018 due to money laundering. So privacy coins do have that stigma. I think, in my opinion, just to be clear, guys, as well, the US currency is one of the largest currencies that is being used during money laundering situations. And it's using a lot of that money for illegal crime and illegal activity, which I'm not going to go ahead and tap into, but you guys could guess what that could be. So I think a lot of people forget that, right? So unfortunately, privacy coins do have a bad stigma to it, but here's where my butt comes in. I think in the future, privacy will be a very big thing. And I'm not saying privacy coins in general. I'm just saying privacy, because if you think about it in general, right now, a lot of our data is being sold. There's been multiple lawsuits with Google. I'm sure a lot of you guys, if you guys use Google, you guys probably receive emails of like data deals, data breaches happening. They went ahead and violated customer rights. Apple also had an issue with that. Facebook also went ahead and so there's a lot of companies, if not all of them, that have user data one way or another. And that's really what we should be protecting. I think that's today's gold, is our privacy, our data. And I think one of the tokens that were doing that was WorldCoin. You were basically able to take a picture of yourself, and this doesn't sound correct, but you were able to sell yourself, meaning the image of you, like your face being on a commercial, and now you have the rights to that, right? So I think privacy is going to be a really big thing. So I'm going to keep my eye on privacy coins. Like I said, none of this is financial advice or legal advice. Always consult with a lawyer if you're questionable about privacy coins. I am not saying that I'm going to buy any privacy coins. I'm just saying that I'm going to keep my eye on privacy coins and, of course, do everything that's legal. But I think privacy in crypto will be very, very important. So especially with what we're seeing right now in the world, we're seeing a lot of stable coins being created. I know the fear of which we're going to talk about right now, and I'm going to pivot actually. I know the biggest fear is CBDCs, and I think we're already doing that. Honestly, I already always mentioned like we're basically doing that through credit cards. Like, when have you really touched cash? Like, I rarely ever touch cash, and the reason being is because I lose it. And let's be honest, we're in the space of crypto. I like digital stuff. I want Dogecoin in my pocket. I do not want the US dollar. So I think we're already transitioning into this digital currency. One of the largest ones being is USDC. So if you want to get close to a CBDC, I would say USDC would be close to that. Keep in mind what Tristan mentioned recently, that the biggest fear of CBDCs is the control being able to stop your funds and doing that, which it's already doable with a lot of these tokens. To be completely honest, a lot of these cryptos, they could already, if they really want to, they could freeze your wallet. Of course, they're not going to do that depending on the token and what it is. It is an open contract, so you could go ahead and read into it. But basically, when hackers do go ahead and hack into platforms and they get a lot of money, they prevent them by blocking or banning the address. They don't get away with all of it. Sometimes they could get away with a little bit of money, not all of it, but it is very, very possible. Now, for the US, if that's your biggest fear, CBDCs, there's actually already a law that already went in place. It was back in 2023, 22, where the IRS now has the rights to look into your bank account without your permission. And they're actually able to now take money directly if they want to freeze your funds instantly. They don't have to. Before, they would have to go to the bank. Hey guys, can we look into this person's? They need all this, maybe a warrant, who knows, to go ahead and proceed and do that. Nowadays, with it's called Fed Now. If you look into the Fed Now laws in the U.S., and I probably will talk about this another time. Fed Now, but if you look into Fed Now, they're integrating a lot of this. A lot of what everyone's fearing about CBDCs and all of this, they're already implementing a lot of this behind our backs. And as you see, Fed Now is supposed to be working on 24/7 payments, on instant payments. I think they're already probably using the blockchain. Maybe they're using Ripple. Who knows what they're using? But a lot of this that we fear is already happening behind closed doors. Right. So I don't think it's so much about the CBDCs. I think, of course, we do not want digital coins, but I think we're already being pushed into that market anyways. I mean, let's be honest. A lot of the things that we do are now digital nowadays. And talking about stable coins, and this is where I'm heading towards with this, is we see analysts are predicting that the stablecoin market on its own could grow by 2 trillion by the end of 2028. And that's due to the fact that they've been noticing that it's a very profitable market. Now, remember how we talked about a few weeks ago how Trump's team was working on their own stablecoin called USD1? Well, they officially went live about 4 days ago. It has not been publicly announced. You could go ahead and look at their token on CoinMarketCap. Currently top 263. They provided liquidity recently. Currently market cap at the moment is about 128 million. The token is launched on Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain. If you guys remember, we talked about Trump's team possibly working out a deal with Binance, and we were all wondering what that was. Acquiring Binance US, maybe. Now we know why. It's probably listing USD1. Binance is probably going to list Trump's stablecoin. It'll probably be the first platform to do that, I think, because they're running on Binance Smart Chain, which is their blockchain. And if you look into it right here at the bottom, where you look at the markets, you could actually buy USD1 if you guys want already on PancakeSwap and Uniswap. You see that most of the liquidity is in PancakeSwap. So there's this has already been live. It hasn't been publicly announced yet. I'm sure when more people start to find out about this publicly, they're going to go ahead and start running into buying it. Maybe we'll see if there's any opportunities when it comes to this. When it comes to any good yields to his token, it is supposed to be backed by U.S. Treasuries 1-to-1 and other cash assets. And this is the one I was talking about. Basically, CBDC. You know what I mean? So they're not going to word it like, hey, CBDC. They're going to like slowly implement it. Who knows? Maybe USDC is the chosen token. I don't know. To me, I really don't care about CBDCs. I don't find that too much to be my fear. I think the biggest fear should be privacy is what we should all be worried about. And that's slowly being taken away by these other financial instruments. And this is where being your own bank, which is what we really talk about here in Decentralized Masters, is really big, right? Having your own ledger, storing your own crypto assets. That is the biggest thing you want to do because there's a lot of things that are already happening with all this chaos going on in the world. A lot of distractions going on that a lot of things are being implemented. So during this time, you want to double down on your knowledge, focus, be a little bit more open-minded to this new technology and transition into the world that we're going into. But yeah, USD1, we'll see if new opportunities are presented here. One of the biggest things to Kraken is now going to be offering stock trading within their platform. Now, once again, we've been seeing this with multiple platforms such as Robinhood. Robinhood went ahead and implemented crypto trading back in 2017. And now, as of the last 2 years, they implemented more crypto tokens and the ability to transfer money in and out within a wallet, which you weren't able to do. So it looks like a lot of these exchanges are now, these crypto exchanges are now looking to be like a one size fits all type of service where they are offering different financial instruments, which is really cool. I think it's really cool. I'm excited to go ahead and use Kraken's stocks feature. I think that's going to be really cool. We know that right now the top exchange when it comes to stocks is Robinhood, believe it or not. But regardless of the fact that that whole entire GameStop thing happened, all the exchanges did it. But Robinhood has a clearinghouse that most of these big exchanges use. Banks like Charles Schwab and all these other institutions, they're using basically the same clearinghouse. I think it's Apex Clearinghouse. I'm not sure if they use it as well, but I'm sure most of the larger brokers, larger firms are using the same clearinghouse for these stocks. Now, I do want to ask you, Tristan, how do you feel about Kraken with stocks? And do you think we could see a transition into Coinbase doing something very similar?
Ooh, definitely. I'm kind of tempted just to buy Coinbase stock on Kraken just for the meme. I feel like that'd be kind of funny. I'll probably stick with my my go-to the stockbroker though. But it's a step in the right direction. And when things do eventually, when stocks eventually do become tokenized, which I'm expecting within the next 3 years, they will actually have tokenized stocks. Kraken will already be in place, and that's where I think sorry for the hockey reference, but they're watching the puck, they're seeing where the puck is going, and they're moving in that direction.
Yeah, it's really interesting because you kind of also see that Kraken is following the steps of Coinbase. Coinbase went public a few years ago, and Kraken also announced a few weeks ago that they're looking to go public in 2026. So that means more growth. And as you see, now with this administration that we have, that's a little bit more lenient towards crypto. We're seeing a lot of these companies now being a little bit more open, not only to expand their businesses, but now to offer even more services within the US, right? Which means more job creations, which means more growth within our economy. So now, as we talked about it once, now we could be seeing more growth within the US within the tech sector. because we've been noticing these last couple of years, a lot of these big companies leaving the U.S. and leaving a lot of these major top tech cities, states. For example, like San Francisco, there's not that many tech companies that are left anymore. They all left due to the whole entire California politics, and they moved over to Texas. So, and it's good to see that now with this administration that we have, it's actually a little bit more pro crypto and in our favor. I think we could go ahead and continue to see more companies probably even come in here and settle in the US if they have those regulations that benefit you and I. And there has been a lot of that being said. So it's really interesting. I'm looking forward to Kraken. I think that's going to be really, really fun to now have one platform and do all of that. This is Mantra's chart. Paxos, we always talk about Paxos. Gold obviously has been doing very, very well. For me personally, I don't think it's a good time to buy. I think it's you're a little too late for that party, but you could be looking for other opportunities. So I really won't touch up too much on that. Let's look into the NASDAQ real quick, see what's going on before I start going into a few other articles. But the NASDAQ right now, we are seeing selling pressure. I did mention to our private community yesterday, there could be a possibility that we could still come back down over here, or even maybe here. Worst case scenario will be here. So there still hasn't been signs of buying pressure coming up. So realistically speaking, we could go ahead and see another additional 10% correction on the stock market, 14%, or even worst case scenario, an additional 23%, which is not too good. Well, it is buying opportunities. So that is one thing I do want you guys to go ahead and keep that in mind. I'm also loading up on stocks myself, to be completely honest. I'm looking for a few opportunities. I know NVIDIA had a little bit of drama come out yesterday regarding their chips, about them not being able to, ship them out to China, or I don't know, some issue going on with their chip. And that kind of brought down the stock a little bit down. So I think there's a lot of opportunities in the stock. Of course, high risk, high reward. But I do think there could be more fear coming into the market. Now, one thing I also want to point out that Tristan has talked about, the DXY, the dollar has been falling, which is exactly what we need for the market to go up eventually. So DXY is looking solid. Bitcoin right now is not looking too bad. It looks like it's trying to break out of this resistance right here, which is around this $86,000 range. We talked about yesterday with our private community how it looks like we are forming a potential head and shoulders pattern. If we do go ahead and see that breakout, guys, well, then that usually means that we're done with this downtrend. Now, keep in mind, Bitcoin is still in this downtrend. So we need to go ahead and see Bitcoin break out of this downtrend and start picking up that buying pressure to get us out of the zone where we're in right now. Once again, what I see for Bitcoin, that this is the best case scenario. We see this breakout happen sooner than later. So basically saying we could be near an end of this dumping in the market, which could be a good thing, right? I'm thinking maybe late May, June, we could probably start seeing this market slowly start to pick up. I think worst case scenario, we'll start seeing the market pick up between July and August, which gives us a lot of room to still buy into the market. But this is the second worst case scenario for Bitcoin, is that we're just in the zone consolidating like this. Basically like what I went ahead and did on this bar pattern. As you see, I think this is the worst case for Bitcoin, that we see some sort of move like this where it just consolidates, boring chop, and then out of nowhere. And it's kind of funny how it shows up right here on July, but maybe we start seeing that breakout towards June and July. FOMC meeting is coming up on May. There is a little bit more betting that there could be a rate cut. I still doubt there will be. I think we still need to see a little bit more pain in the market, unfortunately. But with that being said, I think we are near an end. Not saying that we are at one. I think we're near. We're seeing signs of just stagnant moves. And that usually leads to a consolidation with a breakout, right? So I don't think I think, in my opinion, we're almost near this. We're near the end of this choppiness. And I think the less we really think about it, to be honest with you guys, the quicker it's going to go by. But I think, in my opinion, we are almost near finishing up this shaky market. And what I mean by near, this could literally be another 2-3 months. Just keep that in mind. Just the market's going to do its thing. What are your thoughts about this, Tristan? Do you think we're almost near this end of this choppiness? Do you think we're going to go down lower? Do you think this is it?
I'm expecting consolidation. As we can see, we're kind of coming out of that downward channel right now. What is it? We have, what you call that? You would say this is a bear flag? We're kind of
Yeah, I mean, if it's a bear flag, it wouldn't be too good, but yeah, because a bear flag would be indicating we would go ahead and consolidate, probably slightly up, fake out, and then drop.
Yeah, so at the moment we're kind of in a point that looks like consolidation, but could also be bear
A
flag.
bear flag, yeah.
So it's a very risky to take a big position right now. So the second best thing you can do is, if you're unsure, either DCA or wait.
Yeah, wait. That's what I'm waiting, just for a little bit more information. Do you personally think we're gonna start seeing more? Do you think we still need a little bit more pain left in the market?
I haven't seen any crazy TikToks lately saying this is how you make $1 million a month trading cryptocurrencies. I haven't seen that for the last few months.
Or what about
So we might be.
what about the person that predicted USDC to go to like $5?
Oh yeah, I saw that. That was in our private group, and very important meeting, very important strategy meeting. We had a TikTok where someone said that USDC was going to 5. They also had XRP at 100. Yeah. Anyways, I haven't seen any of that lately, so maybe we are kind of nearing a bottom.
That's good. That's good, right? Usually the signs that I'm looking for is, I'm personally looking for, I think there's still a little bit more pain to go, to be honest with you, everyone. I know that's probably not what you want to hear, but I think I would say that we've been pretty open and transparent since February. We mentioned that there could be a possibility. We talked about this rejection possibly happening. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we timed exactly everything, but I would say that we've been pretty on top with mentioning how bearish this market looks. We were very, very concerned while everyone was screaming for a $1 million Bitcoin. And we were just being that bear in the room saying, I don't know. I'm not here to crush your dreams, but it probably is not looking too good. And I, to be completely honest, haven't been aggressively investing since November. So that even tells you that I was already concerned to begin with. So right now, what I'm looking into the market is to take on that aggressiveness that I've been waiting for these opportunities. Yet, I do think that there could be still a little bit of more falling damage for it to happen. Now, tomorrow is Friday. We'll see how things go tomorrow. Fridays are usually not good days for the market. If Friday closes on a red tomorrow, expect next week to fall down even more. That is just usually how things work. Keep an eye out for that. But yeah, NASDAQ is falling. Now, the second thing I could say that I guess this is a little bit more positive is that we could be at a point where also crypto is finally depegging itself from the stock market. Because to be completely honest, if you compare Bitcoin to the NASDAQ right now, like Bitcoin's actually looking a lot better than the stock market. Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, I'd say that. Yesterday, especially, the stock market absolutely bled, and then Bitcoin was like, meh.
Yeah, I mean, it's still following almost about the same. I mean, it's literally almost about the same if you really look at it. This is where the stock market crypto pivoted, fell, and then this is where Bitcoin is at right now. This is where the stock market is at right now. So it looks like we could be near the end. Worst case scenario, as I mentioned, we fall down one more time, then we go ahead and finally break out to the upside. But don't be surprised if there is a little bit of pain, but I think we're almost over with the pain. Usually May could probably be a good indicator to see where things are going. Now, the biggest things I do want to mention is this is not going to be over. And I mean by the market being uncertain until the taxes with China gets resolved. So that's why I'm saying don't expect much from the markets. This thing could be a prolonged thing where like it's literally dragged for 2-3 months, 5 months. I don't know who. I think Tristan might have talked about this earlier today. I know he shared this with our private community, if I'm not mistaken. But I mentioned how I think quarter three, like end of quarter three, going into Q4 is where we could see the market reverse. And I think Tristan also said the same thing. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where my head's kind of at. So don't be surprised of a little bit more shakiness in the market, but I do think this is almost over. There is a lot of opportunities that are being presented. Now, I did have a few things I wanted to share that I'm not going to talk about right now just because of time, but I will recommend all of you guys take a look at GameFi.org. I'll go ahead and give you a quick little rundown on this. We are not affiliated, sponsored, or associated with this platform. I only remember this platform due to last bull run. This was a launch pad, very similar to what Tristan was talking about. These were mostly focusing on the gaming sector. Now, one thing that I came across this again, I wanted to show you guys that in order for you to be a participant of this launch pad, there's several launch pads that do the same thing. You have to be a holder of their token. So as you see right here, GA5 token right now is going for about $1. All-time high last bull cycle was about $300. So if you are interested into looking into that, go to CoinMarketCap, type in GFI. This is a little gem that actually GFI is Goldfinch, so it would be GameFi, literally the word GameFi. So GAFI, GAFI. So this is a little gem for all of you guys. Not saying that this is going to be the token. I'm just giving you guys a heads up. Maybe this could be it. Maybe it could not. But I do remember last bull cycle, GameFi did very, very well. All-time high at $351 and currently at $1. And in order to participate on these launches, you need to be a holder of their token. So if you hold 10 tokens, you can only do a max allocation of $60, but remember the winner selection is a lottery. So that means you participate into the token, and then it's going to be a lottery chosen to see if you're the one that won that in order to participate. We have the Elite, which is a minimum of 100 tokens, Pro, which is 500 tokens, allocation. So the more you hold, the higher the allocation, investment allocation you could do. But this one right here is still a lottery up to the 500 GAFI tokens. But if you want to hold on to 1,200, that's going to be roughly about, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 12 grand if I looked into it yesterday. Who knows if that's the investment? I'm going to look more into it. Like I said, this is a platform that I was keeping an eye on last bull cycle, came in a little too late. They have upgraded their platform a lot more. Their average, it says right here, all-time high average return of investments of 42x. They do require KYC. They do have an upcoming project called AI Telegraph. They're looking to raise $150,000. And as you see right here, it says no KYC required to participate. Now, keep in mind, you have to be a holder of their platform to be able to participate into these tokens. But you can go ahead and come down here, look at their recent ones that are coming up. Honestly, none of this really stood out to me. You can go back right here into the tokens that previously launched, and you can see most of them did about a 2x. Crow's doing about a 9.2x. So you could go into here and look into how they have performed. To be completely honest, it's a hit or miss. You really don't know which one's going to perform well, which one's not. So it's really just a gamble. And I think right now, with how the market's looking, Tristan also mentioned this in our private community. Usually these launches don't do too well during these market conditions. So also be alert of that. Doesn't mean they won't go up. They could probably go up, but it's usually pre-sales don't do very well during these kind of market conditions. And usually people are not willing to throw money during this time either. So if you do want to go ahead and participate into it, check out the platform, do your own research. The platform is called GameFi.org. It's been out for over 3 years. But like I said, just do your research on that. We could talk about that another time. Maybe next week we'll talk about a little bit more about launch pads, because I think that's where a lot of value is going to be at in the next coming months and weeks, since seems like Tristan knows a lot about them. And yeah, we could definitely look into that. But I just want you guys, that's a little bit of alpha there. Go ahead and do your own research. Maybe you guys could find something. And if you are in our private community and you guys come across anything, always feel free to share that information with me, right? I'm always open to learning more. And that's what you have to do in this space. You always have to be open-minded when it comes to these opportunities, of course. But yeah, with that being said, that's pretty much everything that I wanted to go ahead and talk about. I think there's another one right here. I guess last article for all my XRP maxis and XLM holders. Stellar sees a $3 billion into the real world assets coming on chain into 2025. So we also saw that with AVAX. So keep in mind we've been pretty big on AVAX as well. AVAX has been bringing in a lot of value. But one thing I didn't actually do was TA on Bitcoin. I don't think it's really necessary, to be completely honest with you guys. I'm not going to sit here and try to break it down into what's going to exactly happen, because I don't know right now. We'll see. I need more data before I make a decision. But so far, let's see if we can find anything on the weekly. Weekly's actually looking good. It looks like we're getting ready to break out of this downtrend. So I guess that's a good positive thing right here. Once again, worst case scenario for this is that we see Bitcoin go down and then we finally see that breakout. That'd be the worst case scenario possibly. So just be on the lookout for that. But yeah, we finally are seeing a little bit of green in the market. But yeah, that's pretty much it on my end. Anything else you have to share, Tristan, or you want to mention?
That's it for this week. I don't think I have anything else.
I think I do have one last thing. So for everyone that is looking to do taxes, because tax season is here, we've actually partnered up with CoinTracker, cointracker.io. We're actually partnered up with them. So we did a deal with them. So you guys can go ahead and get a discount. You guys can get 10% off. Use code DM10 to go ahead and get that discount. It's a really easy software, just almost like a plug and play, where it tracks all you could track your ledgers, your Ravi wallet, your MetaMask, and DM10 is the code to get 10% off. Tristan went ahead and posted it down below. So make sure to go ahead and check them out, cointracker.io. We are partnered up with them, and we went ahead and did this so we could go ahead and bring you guys a good deal. With that being said, that's pretty much it on my end. I'm going to go ahead and leave it off to Tristan to close this.
All right. Once again, thank you all for joining another Decentralized Masters podcast. I hope you're walking away with some clear strategies on launch pads and not, or maybe investing in Mantra or not investing in Mantra. If not, you came away with some very important lessons to take profits. Remember, DeFi is evolving fast, and staying ahead means taking action with the right knowledge. If you're ready to dive deeper into our roadmap to build your own DeFi success, check out the DeFi Masterclass. The link is in the description below. In the training, you'll receive clear hands-on strategies to maximize and manage risks, and truly make the most of what DeFi has to offer from our CEO, Tan. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss next week's live episode. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and John and I will see you right here next time on Decentralized Masters.
Let everyone take care.
See ya.